So, as my first cubing YouTube video, I decided to make a 3x3 tutorial because why not? It's the average cube people have, so just thought to make a 3x3 tutorial. See ya. Okay, now the first step to do it is to create what we call the daisy, which is making the yellow center, which you can see here, have all four white edges around it, so like surrounding it like that. And before we can do that, first you need to know like the different piece types, which seems obvious, but many people don't know how it works, and that's why they can't solve it, along with the fact that it's also hard to solve it if you don't originally know how or have a tutorial like this one. So the three different piece types are centers, which cannot move in relation to each other. So for example, the yellow center and the white center will always be opposites of each other, like that. And so will orange and red and green and blue. Which is why we may put the white edges along with the daisy, so we can just easily move it there. But first we need the piece type. So the next that I'm going to say is the edge, which is the piece with two colors in between two centers. And then with three colors, there's the corner pieces with three colors in between three edges and three centers. Now, the separate pieces, the separate colors, on the pieces can't move. So, like, this blue can't move separate from this, orange and yellow here. Which you can see if I just move it by randomly turning it. Let's find the corner. Okay, this one, the yellow, blue, and orange are still together. So, let's learn how to solve the daisy. So, this is how you solve the daisy. Interesting. Anyway. So you're going to find all of the white edges and the yellow center, which is what we're going to put the white edges around. So some white edges will already be there, sometimes, and some will be intuitively placed there, so that you could just move in with one move like that. But some you can move in with one move, but that would break another one. When that happens is note that when we put this in, it moves into this place. So instead of doing that like we normally would, we can move the place where it needs to go, or the place where it needs to go, which would be here or here, into the place where it does currently go now. So we would do this. If you understand notation, it's a U prime. If you don't, you learn that and probably will forget it, like literally everything you do in school. But, anyway, this is then one move away after that. And sometimes you can do it in with two moves, like this, which I'm gonna get back to the case we had earlier if you do have that case, so don't worry. We can put that up. It's basically like when we had it this, and this was like here. We just move this and then we can put that in, and there we go. And now if we have something like this, where you would do that, and it gets in there, but it's flipped so that the white isn't facing here, the white side isn't here, like it should be. You would put it down onto either the left or the right side, like that. And then you have this, which we already got told how to cover it. You would do, it can go here, and it should go here. So we move the place where it does go, we should move the place where it should go, sorry, to the place where it does go right now. So again, a U-prime that you'll forget, like we do, again, with all the lessons that we learn in school. And then, if you followed correctly, you should have a fully made cross, which is the first of 8 steps. Good job, you're almost there. Well, I mean, we still have a lot of this video left, but, yeah. Okay, the next step is a relatively easy step compared to a lot of other algorithmic, perfect pronunciation in English. Anyway, it's very intuitive, so, like, what you would do is, you look at these edges, this color of the edge here, and not the white, but, like, for example, this red, orange, green, blue. Compared to the centers, well, we have a lot made here, but it's not like a block, so it doesn't, okay, whatever. I don't mind that. You just, if they match, you can move the top, the front, I mean, not the top, the front 2 times. So, like, the top, front 180 degrees, that would put it here. So, like, it's in between the correct centers where it's supposed to be, green and white, and the correct direction. And if it's not like this, this, or this, we can do a move, and then rotate the cube, not turn it, rotate it, which is different. Turning a cube would be like turning a cube. What do you think I was going to say there, bro? And rotating it is moving it, like, your direction from, like, one of the centers, like, or, like, a specific orientation, like blue in front, yellow on top, to orange in front, yellow on top, or something like that. Or, like, I rotated. Wait. Oh, yeah, I'm on a... Okay, anyway. We made the yellow... Anyway. So, this, we would move it, rotate to where it is now. It matches. Move it 180 degrees. Okay, next, we have this one, which we can do here. Move it, rotate with it. It matches. Move it 180 degrees. And then this one. But no, because this is a yellow edge, not a white edge. We need to make sure we do this with white edges, not any other edges. So, and that's a mistake some beginners mess up. Like, some people I taught messed that up. So, again, turn it, rotate to where it is. If it matches, put it down. If it doesn't, do that again. So, now you have the white cross. And these colors should also match. So, you have done the second step. You're 4th of the way there. Except for the fact that the next steps are a little more challenging. And by a little, I mean a little. Thinking about it and how long it took me to learn. But for the next step, you're going to need to know your first algorithm. But don't worry, it's not like a super long complex algorithm like whatever that was. It's just 4 moves, which would be if you know notation, which you probably don't, R, U, R prime, U prime, or as I used to teach many people that I used to originally teach. So Rubik's Cube, up, left, down, right. So you turn this side, or whatever side is the right side for whatever direction you're rotating, up, then the top, left, then this, down, top, left, right. I know my left's and right, I promise. So, you want to find a white edge, but not something like this. This is a yellow edge. It is soft compared to a lot of these other pieces, though, so that's cool. But we don't care about soft pieces that we don't care about. These are anyway. So we're gonna look for a white, a corner with white in it on the top layer. And when I say top layer, for now, it will mean the yellow, the side with the yellow center. So what you're going to do is take that corner, move it above the slot where it needs to go. So this is white, green, and orange. So green and orange. So you would move it next to the green and orange centers, like that. And next, what you need to do is do the algorithm that you just learned, remember? You need to do that a specific amount of times for whatever case you get. So, for this, my example, I have it on the very top. So, when you have white on the top, like, near the, like, you know what I mean, like, if you have it, don't worry, I'm going to untwist it later. If not like this, this is on the top layer, but not the top face. And same for this. Alright, now it's back to normal. So if you were worried about me twisting it, don't worry, it's untwisted. So, like on the top, like this. You see what I mean? So, what you do is you're going to do the algorithm 3 times if it is at the very top. Okay, and then you go to the next edge. For our example, it would be this one, which is white, green, and red. So green and red, move it on top of the green and red centers. So this one, white is facing us in this example. Also, I should have made sure, I should have said this, but I'm doing this in one recording because I'm dumb. So I'm gonna say now, make sure it's the corner that you're about to solve is in the front right side. So here, like here, if you're rotated here, if you're here, then it would be here. So that would work. This one would work. This one would work. This one is not the right corner. Anyway, so let's continue our example with this. If white is facing towards you, like it is in this example, you would take the algorithm you know right now, and you would make it lefty. So, like for the righty version, it's up, left, down, right. For the lefty version, it would be up, right, down, left. But on the other side, of course. If you're wondering what those random moves that I did after that, it was just undoing what I did. So, yeah. And so if it's in front, you're going to rotate it so that you can't see the white. Well, for on this cube, you can see it a little bit, but you should get what I mean. So, like, it's going to be on the side. So, and then you do a lefty. Which, if you see what the moves do, you can see why you have to do it like that. So for this one, same thing. It's already on the right slot. It's in front, so you would rotate, turn it lefty. But what if it's oriented like this? So those moves I just did was to do that. In this case, you would just have it this way and do the 4 moves once. And now you're 3/8 of the way there. That's still too much math for me. School ended today, so that's too much math, you know? Alright, the next step will be to make the second layer, so this entire thing would be solved. So, first step is to find an edge, not a corner, without white in it. Oh wait, all of them are without yellow in it, in the top layer. So, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So how you would solve it is you put it above the center, like, look. So let's do this so that it's not how it was. It's basically quit. Anyway, so you're going to take that edge and make sure these colors match. So for the cross, how we made these colors match, when we were matching them, it was these colors. So it's basically the same thing. You move it, rotate to where it is, and then you repeat that until it matches. So it took one try for it to match, which you don't need to know, but yeah. So what you would do, you move it away from where it needs to go, and if you want to, and where it needs to go is basically what direction it would be to be solved. So if this piece moved right here, for example, that would be solved in relation to these centers. So undo that move it away from where it needs to go. So it would need to go right, so you move it to the left. If it had to go that way, you would move it the other way. So in this case, it has to go to the right, so we move it away. And then we just do a righty algorithm or a lefty algorithm. So so right now we're trying to solve this into this slot, like, so it's going to, and okay, a better way to explain this is if you moved it and right now it's on the left, do a righty algorithm. If it's on the right, do a lefty algorithm. Undid that, the lefty algorithm again, because we need it. So if you don't get what I was saying, rewind. Anyway, I will rewind if you don't get what I'm saying at all for any of this. Anyway, what you would do is then rotate and just solve this like normal, because you already set this up, which, let me do this again. So this, you do this, and then you set that up to where when you insert it this time, it connects, and therefore it puts this edge into place. So let's do it with this edge here. So again has to go to the right, which you can test with that move. Yet another block on the yellow side. Anyway, so what you're going to do, if you find any blocks, most likely it won't matter. If it does, it makes your solve easier. So you're going to put it this way. So like the opposite way of where it needs to go again. Do a righty algorithm, because it went to the left, to set it up so that when you solve this, this goes in with it. And now on this, I'm actually gonna do, and wait, no, that. All right, there we go. No, that's not, okay, Okay, there. Okay, sorry. Don't worry about that. You don't need to do whatever I did. What that was is just basically making it so that this would be, has to go on the left side so that you know what to do if it's on the left side. And I don't need to re-scramble this to show you. Multitasking be like. Anyway, I'm not sure if that counts, but okay. So this, you can test, has to go to the left because once again, it's solved relative to the centers. So you would move it to the right. Then if you move it to the right, lefty algorithm. And once again, that sets it up. So when you do another righty algorithm, it solves. Okay. And then, wait. There's no corners in the top, edges in the top layer. No. Okay, so there may be one in the bottom layer. This also goes into this also is for the corners. They may end up in the bottom layer while you're trying to solve them. If that is the case, just take them out with a righty algorithm. And for the corners, that's all you need to do. If no, the righty algorithm takes this out, so make sure that the corner you want to take out is here. And for edges, which, by the way, this would be the most annoying case of all time, no matter what method you use. The solution, take it out, and then, like we did with when we were solving it, we put this back. So basically, imagine if this was the edge. We put it here, we take it out, and then we set it up to where we can solve it. Except it's not solved. It's not that unsolved. Anyway, so you have this. You're going to simply take it out with a righty algorithm, and then rotate and solve it like you normally would with a lefty algorithm. By the way, I'm calling them righty and lefty algorithms, but if you want to see the actual name, go look. I will warn you, it's a bit questionable, but yeah. Okay, so next, you will have this to solve, so you can line it up and move it to this side, and, well, because it is solved at the right, so you would move it to the left, and when you move it to the left, you do righty algorithm, then you do lefty algorithm to solve it. I know I'm going fast for that, but, I already, taught how to do, that, so I feel like I don't need to go as slow as I did. So the next step is the last layer. Hopefully I can get a cool transition. Yeah, good luck with me for that. Okay, so the first step for the top layer is to make a yellow cross on top. Let me undo that. So, one case you can get, which is one every 8 solves, you're going to get a dot, which is the worst. And so what you do with a dot is, from any side, it doesn't matter, because every side, except for the corners, it's still going to be a dot facing the same way, which is every way, and no ways, I don't really know, but hopefully that's a good enough explanation for you, but, I mean, that doesn't really revolve to solving a cube, so it shouldn't matter. Okay, so you would move the top layer down, so like that, or, okay. So you would move the top layer clockwise, and then you do a righty algorithm. Then you'd undo the move on the top layer. Okay, and then the next case you can get would be a hook, which solving the dot case into a hook, solving the dot case into not a dot case gives you a hook. So that's going to be my next thing. So what you're going to do here is you're going to do the same thing, except you're going to move both of these layers at the same time. So you're going to do what's called a fat move to move like the entire hook. So like this entire hook, going to move it down. And then we're going to do a righty algorithm and then do the fat move. So like that. And that will solve your cross. Okay, the next and very last case for solving that cross will be a line. Don't know why I exaggerated it so much. But with a line case, you're going to do the same thing you did for a dot case. You're going to move the top layer clockwise. You're going to do a righty algorithm, then turn the top layer counterclockwise. And then your next step will be a simple one, which is very easy to skip. So, okay, I skipped an interesting step here. I'm just going to undo that. So, the next step is going to be solving the edges. So, if you skipped any steps so far, which you may have, just skip the section until you solve it again and realize you don't know how to do it. So and I'm going to say it now because you're very likely to skip this step out of any of the steps here, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's the rarest, the most common to skip. Maybe the crosses, but I don't know. So, you're going to have one of three cases, one of which is solved. So, you're going to have one of two cases, but it requires another algorithm. But don't worry, this one's also very easy. The algorithm is very simple to memorize if you memorize where these specific two pieces, these ones, go. So you are going to take them out like that. You're going to do a U move if you know notation, or just move the top layer clockwise. And then you are going to insert this by putting this up, moving this so that these colors match, or like moving the top layer 2 times, then putting it down. Now, this is going to be useful when you are working with these edges. Now, the first thing that I'm going to teach you is if you're able to match 2 edges like this, which, by the way, just do one move and then see if you match them. That's how I recommend you do it, and I'm pretty sure that's the only reasonable way to do it. But if you have it like this, where 2 can be solved but they're opposite to each other, you're going to do a soon from any angle. Then you're going to turn this layer like that, like clockwise. Yeah. And then you should be able to, well, I guess you don't need to do that last turn. You can just, and then you're going to be able to do 2 adjacent. Like that. Okay, and now if you have 2 adjacent, you're going to put them in the back and right. And from this angle is where you're going to do it soon this time. So, now, with that, oh, and by the way, after your soons, if the edges should be, solved, but they're not solved, just do moves until all of them are solved. So, for the example that I'm doing right now, oh, they're solved. Okay. So, yeah, yeah, you do the same thing to check what you have. So, anyway, the next step, you're going to need another algorithm, but this is the last algorithm. Yay! So, the algorithm is very simple to memorize, as all the algorithms. I'm not going to say almost, because all of them have been, and this is the last one. You're going to move this up, and again, you're going to track where this goes for these first couple moves. So you're going to put it up and back into the back. But now you're going to see where this goes, which is up and again to the back. There. And then we can just put that down, and then line this back up, put it down. So, like that. Alright, let's see if I can solve it without looking. Well, I was looking at the camera, so it didn't really count, but, I mean, it's interesting. Anyway, let's get to the case where we were at, about. We were somewhere like here. Okay, this is actually better for the tutorial because we didn't skip a step. Alright, so the next thing we're going to solve is the corners into the right spot. So, for example, you may think, oh, this isn't the right spot because it's not solved. But yes, it is the right spot. You see, all of these colors match all the center colors. So it's in the right spot, just not oriented correctly. So if we were to twist it, and don't worry, I will twist it back, it would be solved. And you're going to have to recognize this, which is easy. You can just simply notice that it's twisted because this, like, all the colors on the corner, yellow, red, and green, match these center colors that it's around. So it is in the right spot. So you're going to find one in the right spot, which usually is very easy, and you basically already get with a lot. So, dang. Roof review. Okay, anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to check if you have any. So this, no, because these colors don't match the center colors. Same with this, no, and no. And fast way to check is if yellow is facing up, but this isn't completely solved. Like, the piece isn't solved. Like, here it would be, except for these edges. It's just not, so you need to check further. And same for any other side solved without the entire piece being solved. So, if none are solved, and you checked every single one, so you make sure you do a nick loss from any angle, then check if one's solved. If your checks, so this one would be solved. But let's say your checks fail again. You just do another nick loss from the same angle, which I don't need to do. So, if you do have a solved one, congratulations. You're so close to being the most genius kid in your class, until you realize there's another kid that knows how to solve a cube blindfolded. What? Anyway, so you are going to put the corner that is in the right spot in the front and left. So like this. So here. Not here, not here, and not here. And you're going to do a nick loss from this angle. And then, again, like last time, if it failed, like, if it didn't, like, if the other corners are now not in the solved spot yet, just do another nick loss, which, again, I only had to do one. And now, this is a time, and now all the corners should be in the right spot. This one's solved completely, and this one is too, which sometimes you will get, sometimes you won't. So, now what you do is flip it upside down, and do righty algorithms. So what you're going to do is make sure the bottom right slot is an unsolved one. So not like that, or because that's not unsolved. Well, this does look unsolved, but compared to these edges, which is what we're going to be comparing them to, it is unsolved. So we're going to do righty algorithms until this is solved. So, one sec. So, it's not. No. But this is there, but twisted the wrong way again. Okay, no. And then you're going to know it's solved when the three sides here match this, this, and this. And now, don't rotate. Turn the bottom layer. I made that mistake when I first solved my cube, and I don't want you to do it too. So, you do that same thing again. So, sorry, I know I unsolved it, but for these purposes. So, you're going to do this. It's not solved. This, it is. Then, you're just going to complete the final satisfying turn. Bro, what the? No, bro. This can't be happening, bro. I think I glitched out the matrix, you know?